Hello everyone, welcome to Ethics. This is our first video lecture. I wanted to give you just some of the basic ideas of the class and help you to prepare for the class, which, as I've said, is a bit odd, a bit unusual, but I think in a few weeks after you see how we operate, you'll all feel comfortable and jump right in. That's what I'm hoping. So let's begin with a question. What is ethics? What are we doing in this class? A general way of answering that question is to say ethics refers to the meaning of our life. Ethics is about human life, typically. We don't hold cats and dogs responsible for very much. So ethics is about the meaning of human life with respect to questions of right and wrong, good and bad, better or worse. So the meaning of life with respect to questions of right and wrong, good or bad, better and worse. Now we're all familiar with these kinds of questions. We make judgments about them all the time. One of the things that philosophers like to say about ethics is that you can study what is the case, so you can study what people do. Ethics wants to know what should people do. Now sometimes what people do is relevant to the question of what should we do. But sometimes it's not relevant because we're in situations where it's pretty clear. People cheat on exams. Very few of us would say that's something that we should do. So ethics has to do with the question of what should we do, how should we live, what kind of people should we try to be. Okay, so basic definitions out of the way. Think of a few situations that you might have encountered in the past, or you can certainly imagine yourself being in. First is that your boss tells you to lie to the customers, to tell the customers that a product that they're getting is actually better than it is. Because your boss needs the money, he's desperate, times are tough, you need a job, and so you have to decide, should I lie to the customers as my boss has asked me to do? On a different scale, you go to college and you realize, you know what, I could probably make a lot of money if I go into real estate. Not particularly interested in real estate, doesn't float my boat. I have dreams of being a ballerina or dreams of being a great artist, but I can make a lot of money going into real estate. Should I go into real estate? So that raises a much broader question, doesn't it? Is it worth it in your life to pursue the dream of making a lot of money? Different kind of question than should I lie to the customers for my boss. So ethics can range from very specific situations, at this moment what should I do, to very, very broad questions of what kind of person do I want to be, what's worth sacrificing my time and effort, spending 40, 50 hours a week at my work pursuing. Or you're a college student and you have dreams of going to college and starting a good career, and your mother gets sick and says, you know, I need you home to take care of me and to pay the bills, and you need to get a job around here. We're not going to be able to go to school, at least not for a long time, because I'm sick and I need you. What should you do? Or you're lazy. Is that an ethical problem? Should you try to be a little less lazy? Should you work on yourself and try to become a different kind of person? Change your habits and your character? So we have 4 different kinds of situations. Of course, you can think of many, many more. The first one is about a specific action, specific situation that your boss asks you to perform an action. You want to know, is it right or wrong? Should I do it? Another one is about the career choices you're going to make and the goals you have for your life. Another one is about the priorities you have. How important is it to you, and how important should it be to you to put your mother's interests perhaps in front of your own, to care for her, to be a good son or daughter. We'll talk a lot in this class about the roles that we play in each other's lives. And the last question is sort of about your character, right? You're a lazy person, but if you work on it, 5 years from now, you don't have to be a lazy person. You can change your character. Should you? All of these are ethical questions that are the kinds of things that we'll discuss in class. So given the wide range of questions and situations that we might face, one of our tasks is to figure out if we can help each other, if I can help you, if the textbook can help you, if we can help each other through discussion, to maybe organize our priorities, to talk and think very carefully about, well, what would I do in this situation and why? What should I do in this situation and why? What should anyone do in this situation and why? And what kind of values, what kind of priorities, what kind of, philosophers would call them goods, things that you pursue, are worth pursuing. If you have a dream to be a painter, should you pursue that dream even though chances are you're not going to make much money, you'll be miserably poor? Or should you, sell real estate, make a lot of money? Can we, in this semester, organize our thoughts, sift through the various possibilities, priorities, values, questions, and ideas that are swirling around us in our lives, telling us, do this, do that, this is better, this is better, no, this is what you should do. Can we make some sense of that? Lay it out in front of us, talk about it, discuss it, and organize it so that each of us can make better decisions and understand better what we want to be as human beings. Lots of opinions about what we should do, what's important, what's good, what's better, what's worse. Let's get those opinions out there. Let's evaluate them. Let's talk about them. Let's analyze them together. Let's try to make some sense of which ones maybe hold a little more weight than others. Our main resources in this class for doing that, besides the discussions that we have, are going to be 4 theories. Now, there are more theories out there, but these are easily the most influential theories in our society and in human life. That may be a bit too strong to say. I'm definitely talking about Western experience. I think maybe in other cultures we could see some differences, and we'll talk about those a little bit. But for this class, we're going to talk about 4 main theories of ethics. Now, I need to explain what a theory is in ethics. It's very important. It's important because we can misunderstand what we're doing when we use these theories. So an ethical theory is an attempt by a human being, and we're going to look at 4 human beings. After we deal with Plato and Aristotle, we're going to talk about, after we deal with Plato, we're going to look at Immanuel Kant, philosopher of the 18th century, Germany. We're going to talk about John Stuart Mill, an English philosopher in the 19th century. We're going to talk about Aristotle, classical Greek philosopher, student of Plato's. And we're going to talk about Carol Gilligan, a contemporary feminist psychologist and philosopher. Now, the names we'll use, it's great to know them, but we're not studying the theories because the people were important. We're studying the theories because the theories are important. The ideas that these people have produced are very profound, very helpful, very deep. And when I say helpful, I mean that in a very simple sense. If you understand these ideas, if you spend the time with us this semester and really dig into these theories, they will help you make sense of yourself. They will put into words many of the ideas and the assumptions and the values that you have, but you've never really stopped to think about them and to lay them out. So these theories, this is very important. These theories are here and we are using them as ways of saying what we already think, as ways of showing to ourselves who we already are. What do I mean by that? Very simply, if we were to have an ethical debate, if I were to say, okay, let's talk about capital punishment. Do you think we should have a law that says the government should put someone to death for committing murder, for example? We could have a debate about that. And in that debate, if we were to record it, I would find one of you saying, no, we should not have capital punishment because human life is sacred. Others saying, no, someone has to pay for their sins. Capital punishment is their just punishment for taking life. If you take life, then your life should be taken from you. Someone else would say, but how do we know that this person is guilty? If we're not sure that they're guilty, it's not right for us to take their life. So we should be conservative and not take their life if there's any doubt that they did this. And someone else would say, but what about the families of the victims? Don't they deserve some retribution? Don't they deserve some justice? We'd go back and forth like that. This is who we are. Well, these theories will help us make sense of those arguments, that those values and those opinions and those views that we have. Each of these theories is a way of slowing our thinking down and showing our thinking to us, showing our values to us, and saying, when you say we shouldn't have capital punishment because life is sacred, there's a set of ideas behind that. You're thinking more than what you've said, right? There's something behind that. So let's go deeper down and see, what does it mean when people say human life is sacred? What does it mean when people say there should be justice, and if you take life, life should be taken from? Well, let's slow down and think about, what does that mean? Why do those ideas make sense to us? And what's behind them? So our four theories are ways of, in a sense, saying and showing to us what we really mean when we say those things. Our four theories. So I should say, one of my goals in the class, and I think I'm usually successful in this, is people may initially begin to read about these theories, Kant's theory, for example, and they just don't like it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It sounds sort of weird and technical and a bit strange. But after a while, when we begin to apply it to specific situations, they say, wait a minute, that's me. Yes, I agree. That's how I've always thought. That's who I am. Kant then and Mill and the others are not experts in telling you what to think. They're experts in showing you who you already are. So please read the theories with that in mind. Look for ideas and look for things that they say that seem familiar, and I know you'll find them, at least after a while. Let me say a brief bit about the four theories. Immanuel Kant, argues that we should judge actions, right or wrong, ethics, in terms of their intentions. He says this is common sense. If you see someone helping an old lady across the street, and you happen to go up to congratulate them, and you say, that was a really nice thing for you to do. It's raining, and you didn't have to do that. And boy, it was very nice for you to do that. And they said, oh, well, actually, the only reason I did that is because I know she's a millionaire and I was hoping she'd give me $1,000 for helping her. They still helped the woman across the street, didn't they? That didn't change. Kant would say, but as soon as you find out the reason they did it, for selfish reasons, you don't judge what they did to be morally praiseworthy. Now, you don't say it would have been better if they hit the lady. So what they did wasn't wrong, as hitting the lady would be, but you also don't respect it, right? You don't say, oh, that was a wonderful action.